What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the PHDJ podcast. This is Joe Bunn, and on the other end,
what's up, Joe? This is Mike.
Is my man Mike.
How you doing?
In case you didn't know, after two years running now.
Everybody's
I'm good, man. I'm good. So we are, as some people know, we are pre-recording. We usually do 2 a week. So this one will come out, what?
October 10th?
Something like that.
Second week of October.
October 10th.
There you go.
And so, as you can imagine, which is super weird, especially since today it's going to be 97 here. It is the fall. It is the last quarter of 2019.
We have entered the final quarter.
We have entered the super heavy show season. I would assume, Mike, it is for y'all as well.
Oh my God, our October is insane, and I just lost a music mixer. Some fucker. He emailed me Sunday night. Hey, I took on a full-time job. I'm not going to be able to do any gigs. I go, how long of a notice you giving me? He's like, immediately. Great, thanks, dude. Whoa. Yeah, so I've been scrambling. I got the interviews today. I need 2 warm bodies to get.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
yeah. I have to call Kelly in, and she hates it. Right. Kelly's like my 3rd level of emergency mixer.
I pulled Colin one time for a photo.
Yeah, see, I knew I should have had kids.
Yeah.
Damn it, missed my chance.
In fact, he's playing in the parking lot for homecoming. You know, he's in high school now, so he's got
a freaking rock star.
Dude,
awesome.
He's a wreck. He's making flyers. He's like, what about, aren't seniors going to think it's weird a 9th grader's playing? I'm like, bro, you're just going to be the king. Don't even worry about that.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm going to bring out the booth and the white speakers. They ain't never seen stuff like this before high school. Like, we're going to kill these
He's going to be the rock star.
Right. So anyway, okay, so I'm totally sidetracked now. But long story short, we're going into the last quarter. Oh, no, I know what I was going to say. These are the times. So this is what happens about every Monday in October, guys. Mike or myself starts the day on Monday texting each other, should we just keep all the money and skip down to Mexico?
Yeah. There are days where it rolls like $50K, and I'm like, I put all the data in, and then my finger hovers over the print button. I'm like, should I? And yeah, I'm sending Joe a text. I'm like, dude, payroll's too big. I think I'm just going to skip town.
I think I'm just going to buy a Harley and ride off into the sunset.
That's right.
Mine's never been that bad, but it's been probably half that bad, and it is rough. I mean, every Monday, Mike and I are just teetering on riding off into the sunset, even though
but we never do. That's all.
We never do. You got to pay your people.
Yeah, if any of my DJs are listening to this, always.
always going to pay your people. I'll let my kids starve before I don't pay my DJs.
That's right. Maybe that's why I never had kids. I didn't want them to starve.
All right. So today, as we approach the holidays, I wanted to talk a little bit more about booking holiday parties. Our associate producer, Richie Stedman, was selfishly wanting to talk about this subject, and it seemed appropriate going into this 3rd quarter. So Mike, I want to start, just kind of rewinding, if you need to how you kind of, and again, when I say holiday parties, I mean Christmas parties. I know that word is like almost forbidden now, but your Christmas parties, your corporate events, that are coming up in the December, some taper into January. Tell us how y'all get those, obviously, circle back to how you get the repeat ones and then how you try and drum up new ones.
So as far as the repeat ones, there are a handful of them that literally the Monday after the holiday, the party in December, they'll email us and say, here's next year's date, get us on the calendar. Those are great, but a lot of them don't. And so, and this is something we started to do about we usually wait till right after Labor Day. So we did this about a month ago when this drops, but I don't think if you haven't done this yet, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. What we do is basically look at last year's calendar, every holiday party, and then have they rebooked us. And if they haven't, we just send them an email. Hey, hope you're going to have us back this year. You know, this would be a good time to book. And that usually gets a lot of those to respond and say, oh yeah, send us a contract. One of the things I always try to remind myself and Chris and Dominic who do sales, unlike a wedding, which, you know, brides are usually excited to plan their wedding, they get engaged and they go into this wedding planning mode. Most holiday parties are someone in HR or somebody's office manager or secretary given this role on top of all the other work they have to do. Oh, by the way, you know, you have all this but by the way, also plan this year's holiday party.
Right.
It's not usually met with the same joy and excitement that so a lot of times if you just reach out to these people and say, do you want me to send you a contract? We can keep the price the same as last year, or even if you say, hey, it's gone up a little bit from last year. A lot of times, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but often you'll just get, yes, send it to me. Great. Because you're just making that person's job easier. So if you haven't done that already, and by the way, we not only go back 1 year, we usually go back 2 and 3 years.
Wow.
So because sometimes you get those companies that either didn't have a holiday party last year for whatever reason, or chose to use the competition, and hopefully the competition didn't live up to what you did. So if you send an email and say, by the way, you used us in 2017, wondering if you want to have us back, you will get some of those as well that say, oh yeah, send me a contract.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing as Mike. Couple of other things that we do, even during that busy holiday season, especially if it went really well. Either from the office or the DJ literally will reach out on that Monday after the weekend and say, man, we had a ball on Saturday night. You guys want to go ahead and lock in 2020.
Oh, that's good. So we're not that proactive. If they email us, then of course we do, but we're not that proactive the day after. So I think that's great. So that's something you can, if you're listening to this, you can put that on your to-do list this year in December and say, hey, those good holiday parties, reach out to them that Monday.
Yeah. And I also,
off the top of your head, what kind of percentage do you have of those people who take you out? And P.S., are you asking for a deposit at that point too?
I am, but I'm not always getting it because,
they want to wait till the calendar, right.
Or calendar year, I guess.
And not only calendar year, it might be quarterly. They might, they might say, look, we don't want to start spending money on a holiday party till the fourth quarter or the third quarter. So you have to understand that. Now, will you take a signed agreement with no deposit and lock it in?
I would for a longtime client, 100%. Yes. Good. Yeah, somebody
that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that we've done is, the 4x6 postcards that you can get at clubflyers.com for nothing. We've done a little silly, it's Christmas in July kind of thing. And so mid-year sent out to our list of corporate contacts, mainly pulled from the, inquiries or DJ event planner shows that have booked, just do an export and just send a postcard out. Have you thought about, I know it seems early, but hey, it's Christmas in July, you should definitely go ahead and start thinking about it.
And are you offering a special with that? Are you offering like books now? And
but I'm not saying you can't or shouldn't, but we have not done a special. It's more just even if it doesn't get a flurry of bookings, at least it's a reminder. And I will say this, Mike, and I've mentioned this a few times to a few different people, and I don't know, to be fair, if they still do it or if they do it in your neighborhood or your city. But when we joined the chamber, I remember calling one year, and God, this has probably been 5 or 6 years ago. And I said, I'd like to get, the mailing list of everybody that's a member. And they were like, nah. And I was like, okay, can I get, how do I mail something to these people? And they were like, you can buy the mailing labels, the Avery 5160 mailing labels. And they said, do you want employees count from 1 to 50, 50 to 250, 250 to 500. Like, what is the size of the company? And then that was how big the list was how much money it cost. And again, I don't remember exactly what it cost, but I remember that being a very helpful tool. You know what I mean? So let's just say we mailed out 100.
So that drummed up some new business.
Absolutely. You know, the mailing labels weren't that expensive. They literally sent us the actual labels. Like, the postcards were pennies on the dollar. Like, we made our money back, 30 times over or whatever, just off the 5 or 6 that we drummed up from that. So it's definitely something to look into. Right. Now, Mike, pricing wise, like you were saying, you touched on this a little while ago. Do you guys pretty much remain consistent for long-time clients or for anybody from year to year for again, not for wedding pricing, but this is just corporate holiday party pricing? Has it pretty been consistent?
If we've been doing your holiday party for a number of years now, we might eventually have a price increase. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing some hospitals holiday parties because we originally booked them at a good price, and we've kept the price the same. And just saying that is often the deal closer. If you raise price, now it might have to go back to committee, and they may or may not rebook you. But if you say, hey, we'll give you the same deal we gave you last year, same package, same price, that often is enough to just say, send us a contract. I mean, one of the things we try to keep in mind is December's not a busy wedding month. So if we don't fill it up with holiday parties, guys are probably going to be off. And I'm not saying that we give them away, but we're usually a little bit more flexible when it comes to pricing. There's not nearly as much planning involved. So, if you make a little less off a holiday party than you do off a wedding, well, it also is more than likely less work.
Right. So let me ask you this, Mike, 2 things. One, do you find that these corporate clients are susceptible to add-ons or upsells? I mean, can you sell in the movers?
We've got some companies, and it's so funny I said hospital. It's so often, especially by us, banks and medical centers are the 2 that seem to still have slush money to throw parties. Right. But yeah, I mean, we have some that have taken $3,000-$4,000 packages because they do the TVs and the lighting and and maybe a photo booth and different upgrades. And then we have some that we struggle to get $1,000 out of.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all over the map.
Lastly, in regards to this, like historically, did you in your career and especially as the owner of Elite, don't you remember a time when it was literally like
nonstop?
Not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Did that exist, or did I make that up?
It did, and no doubt. And that was one of the things I think that really changed.
What was that, like pre-2009? Or?
Yeah, when the economy kind of went down. And I looked at it also about 10 years ago at the end of Bush's term when and I'm not blaming George Bush, we're not getting political, but towards the end of his term, so I guess that would be 2007, we had a little bit of a recession. And I think, you own a company, I own a company. When you have expendable cash, a lot of times you take your staff out to a nice dinner or something like that. When the going gets a little tighter, those are some of the things that you eliminate. And I think it was a combination of that. And there were also a few high profile news stories about people driving home inebriated from parties and getting into accidents, and then them not suing the person, but suing the company.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And so I think it was and that's those 2 things I think put some holiday parties on the shelf. And some corporations just said, you know what, rather give out bigger bonuses or whatever.
That became a big thing here. That became a huge thing here.
They're used to, and not just me, but Tom and Dominic and some of the high profile guys who are full-time. We used to do 20 events in the month of December. 19 events in the month of December. But I mean, weekends are busy now. Thursday nights are busy, but we'll get the random, maybe Tuesday night party, Wednesday, but not really what it used to.
Well, I'll speak on that. I remember those days. There's a place here. It's called Marbles. It's basically a kids museum. It's giant. And you can rent it out for private parties. And I'll never forget the first year I did Sony Ericsson's party. I think they must have had a headquarters here. I think this was probably pre-iPhone, to be completely honest with you. And they were crushing it, in the cell phone game. And this party was stupid. Mike, I had everything I owned, every speaker I owned, bring your wife, open bar, food here. I mean, it must have been 500-600 people there. Year 2, not that venue, a smaller country club. Don't bring your spouse.
Right.
Beer and wine only. And then year 3, we're not having a party this year. I mean, it just went like.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example. And then what happens is if a company like that then starts bouncing back, they may or may not, because, I mean, they might also go, yeah, you know what? Nobody really missed it. It wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
I mean, that is one of the things about holiday parties. Some corporations, some groups are great. They love this part. But you can tell sometimes, you know, it's funny. Last week we talked about how to deal with a rough party.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, I certainly have more rough holiday parties than I do rough weddings.
Oh, because not even I was getting ready to ask that question.
Who wants to cut loose in front of the boss? Nobody really wants to tie one on and get stupid and be the topic of Monday morning conversation. So if you do have a rougher holiday party, it's, you know, don't look at it and go, oh, I'm never doing holiday parties again. Just it's the nature of the beast. For some, I mean, again, there's a hospital that I've done like 15 years in a row. I think I've talked about it. They're the greatest party ever. The one thing I hate about that party, it's usually the first Thursday in December. So it's my first. So more often than not, it's my first holiday. I wish it was my last. Because then the rest of the month, I'm going, I wish I had Central State back. But I mean, that's the only downside about that party. I wish it was December 23rd instead of usually December 2nd. But those are rare. You know, it's not every holiday party like that. So
I was getting ready to say, which would you rather do, a wedding or a corporate party?
And by the way, I just want to go back to drumming up new business. I wanted to add this tip, and you're the one that gave me the idea of the newsletter sending out to past clients. You know, we have the reputation in our market of being a wedding company. And so one of the things we want to do around this time of year is just let everybody know, hey, we're not just a wedding company. And so we'll include that in our newsletter. You know, you probably think of us for weddings, but did you know we do a lot of holiday parties?
Nice.
And that will often drum up, you know, that newsletter will often, which we sent out, I think a week ago, will often drum up that, oh yeah, we didn't think about you for our holiday party. So if you do have some kind of constant contact with past clients, P.S., if you don't, you should. This is the time of year to remind people you are big in the holiday party game.
I want to say this too, guys, and again, this goes back to the consulting I'm doing with a handful of DJs right now. If you want to do every type of event, you have to show that you do every type of event. Like I talked to a DJ the other day. He said, you know what's funny, man? All I ever get called on weddings is weddings. That's all I ever get called to do. Weddings. You know, I want to do some other stuff. So I type in his URL. I don't want to say who it is. I pull it up and I'm like, bro, have you looked at your website?
You're a wedding company.
If Karen from accounting is tasked with finding a DJ for the IBM holiday party, and then she has to report back to a committee of 3, and she says, I want to pick this DJ right here, and everybody's going to type in their little meeting, they're going to type in the URL, and they're going to pull it up on the big screen, and what does it show? A bride getting dipped, you know, as the header photo. The next thing is the blogs of the last 3 weddings you've done. The next thing is testimonials about the last 10 weddings you did. Like, there is nothing, even in the header, there's not anything that says you do anything other than weddings. Every image is a bride. There's no diversity here. At least say you do it. At least show some pictures that don't look like they're at a wedding. You have to market yourself as a
and you should also then create a page for that.
Correct.
And then when you're talking to a holiday client, don't send them to your website, but send them to that specific page.
Correct.
Where hopefully we've got a couple of demo videos from holiday parties.
Oh, nice.
We've got pictures from holiday parties. You need to have some kind of, or as Alan Berg would call it, a landing page, so that people, you know, see, okay, great, they do weddings, but look, they also do these things. We have the same thing for Sweet 16s. You know, if you want to get into any type of party, your website has to show that.
Absolutely. 100,000%. I couldn't agree more. Like, do a solid review of that and make sure that, you know, that you're including all the events you want to do. If you do karaoke, say you do karaoke. If you do school events, say you do school events, corporate events, holiday parties, whatever.
Right. Very good.
Anything else you want to add, Mike?
No.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think I'm good.
So, guys, but whatever you do.
Is this the week? I'm trying to think when this lands. This will be the week before. So I'm in Wedding MBA next week.
From when to when?
I fly the 13th,
Okay.
and yeah, I come back whatever that went.
So if any of you guys are going out to Wedding MBA, which I'm not, but you will see Mike Walter there, please say hey to him. And,
yeah, I'm speaking on Monday with Rob Ferre, and then I believe Tuesday morning I'm speaking about marketing to millennials. So yeah, would love to
be there.
See,
yeah, absolutely.
PHDJ podcast listeners.
Yep.
Let me know you're a listener, and yeah, let's hook up.
Yeah, definitely get up with Mike while he's out there, guys.
Cool.
He's an awesome person. And thank you guys so much. Man. Thank you guys for listening. As always, shout out to DJ Event Planner for being a sponsor, and we will be back real soon.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
Later, y'all.